Hi. My name's Sam Schildkraut, 858-249-8998. And this is about the 12th video I've tried making. But the response to my last one got me thinking to make it a different way that maybe more people can understand. Anyway, I had worked at Palace Station casinos, and I was fired from there about 2 weeks before things closed down over the virus. Now, I don't get a spokesperson like a union employee, no judge and jury. It's just me. And unfortunately, I'm about the only non-union person I know who is willing to say if he goes, I go. Anyway, some of the stunts pulled on me is what I'm going to talk about. And anyway, I had long ago worked at Texas Station, where I beat them in an unemployment hearing, and they pulled stunts like recording me, sending me typed versions of the recording without my knowing it, and only altering word for word when I was pointing the finger at one of them. And when it came to Palace Station, I was there about 6 months as an all-games casino dealer. The last month I was there, I brought a doctor's note that said for 2 months I could not deal dice because of a very painful strain physically. And the VA is helping me deal with that. But anyway, that's where most of the harassment started. And I know I'm not a virus victim. I shouldn't have to be. Whether you got a virus or you're unfairly terminated. You know, people say United We Stand, and they want to criticize me, but they never want to answer any questions. Well, anyway, getting back to where I just left off, it was in the last month when I turned in the doctor's note that most of the harassment happened. One of the things that did happen before that last month was a supervisor named Danny got upset, was pulling my arm away from a live blackjack game. The players thought he was a psycho. And they did not document that. They only documented anything they could dream up on me after I gave the doctor's note. So they forced me to deal dice as long as they can. Human Resources refused to take the required medical paperwork that I had that they said they required to see. When I called them, they hung up on me. Eventually, they were forced to have a meeting, and I was allowed to not deal dice. But they harassed me. And it was not unusual because I had made complaints, even emails, which I can send to anybody who wants to see them, stating that supervisors allow players to get more out of line than they already are, whether they're sober or drunk. There were times I would tell dice players, "Sir, you're being very rude." And the boxmen would just sit there and not even argue, which justifies my standing up for myself when the supervisors won't stand up for me or others. Well, for example, we had one guy known as Doc who would curse at the dealers, curse at the players, and they'd never tell him to shut up. They just got on their knees and took whatever money he would lose to them. Then you had this woman, T was her name, young woman who would be very friendly, and then after 2 hours she starts getting annoying towards me and other players on a Pai-Gow poker game. Goes around complaining that she doesn't like my style of dealing, and she wasn't drunk, and for 2 hours was all friendly and laughing. And I told supervisor she's being very harassing, the players don't like her, they're harassed by her, and nothing was done, not even that same night. Then we had, and they used this as the excuse to get rid of me, a drunk, a violent drunk, cursing at me. And I told him to leave. Security was standing right there. I did call security. I shouldn't have had to because they were standing right there. They were upset that I didn't call a supervisor after verbally and emailing them that supervisors don't do anything. The supervisor was quoting what I said and what the drunk said. And I presented my argument, why aren't they upset that the supervisor didn't step in regardless, as opposed to standing there just listening, all but taking notes, literally. They won't do anything about supervisors grabbing me. I get a phone call only after making videos and calling anybody I can, telling me that this T person and this drunk were undercover. And I said, oh, so you're sending undercover people to get drunk and curse at me and be threatening towards the other players. Now that's your excuse. Because I didn't put up with them the way you wanted me to. I'm non-union. And some of you are going to take the time to write in against me just to get your jollies. As opposed to answering obvious questions. Would they have pulled this if I was union? Would they have done this in front of a judge and jury? How would they answer then? I guess the last thing I'll say is one of my criticisms of Channel 13's Joe Bartels. I told him I worked in this business back in the 90s where if you went against the policies of cheating and stealing on some of the dice tables to players who didn't know better, you'd get harassed, threatened, fired. Joe Bartels does stories of how the casinos get cheated by players like they're the innocent little lambs. I don't agree that a casino should get cheated. But when casinos are cheating and harassing, Joe Bartels just crawls away from the story and has the nerve, like anyone else in this industry, of reporters in Vegas or most anywhere else to call themselves reporters. So I've said what I could say as best I could, although it takes about 7.5 minutes. Thank you.